Students, in this video we are going to discuss about the Bohr's model of an atom. Bohr's model of the atom was proposed by Niels Bohr in 1913. It came into existence with a modification of Rutherford's model of an atom. Rutherford's model introduced the nuclear model of an atom, in which he explained that a nucleus, which is positively charged, is surrounded by negatively charged electrons. Bohr's Bohr modified this atomic structure model by explaining that electrons move in a fixed orbits, that is shells, and not anywhere in between. And he also explained that each orbit, that is shell, has a fixed energy level. Rutherford basically explained the nucleus of an atom, and Bohr modified the model into electrons and their energy levels. So Bohr's model consists of a small nucleus, which is positively charged, surrounded by negative electrons moving around the nucleus in orbits. Bohr found that an electron located away from the nucleus has more energy, and electron close to nucleus have less energy. So here are the postulates of Bohr's model of an atom as follows. In an atom, electrons, negatively charged particles, revolve around the positively charged nucleus in a definite circular path called orbits or shells. Each orbit or shell has a fixed energy, and these circular orbits are known as orbital shells. The energy levels are represented by an integer n is equal to 1, 2, 3, known as the quantum numbers. This range of quantum numbers start from nucleus side within n, with n is equal to 1 having the lowest energy levels. The orbits n is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4 are assigned as KLMN shells, and when an electron attains the lowest energy level, it is said to be in the ground state. The electrons in an atom move from a lower energy level to higher energy level by gaining the required energy, and an electrons move from a higher energy level to a lower energy level by losing energy. Now we shall discuss how are electrons distributed in different orbits, that is shells. The distribution of electrons into different orbits of an atom was suggested by Bohr and Bury. The following rules are followed for writing the number of electrons in different energy levels or shells. So, the maximum number of electrons present in a shell is given by the formula 2n square, where n, small n, is the orbit number or energy level index 1, 2, 3. Hence, the maximum number of electrons in different shells are as follows. First orbit or K shell will be is equal to 2 into 1 raised to 2 is equal to 2. The second orbit or L shell will be 2 into 2 raised to 2, that is 8. The third orbit or M shell will hold 18 electrons, 2 into 3 raised to 2. Fourth orbit or N shell will hold 32 electrons, that is 2 into 4 raised to 2, and so on. So according to this formula, the maximum number of electrons that can be accommodated in the outer orbit is 8. The electrons are not accommodated in a given shell unless the inner shells are filled. That is, the shells are filled in a stepwise manner. This image provides you the exact view of how the electrons are distributed in the atom. This atomic structure explains how the electrons are filled in the shells or orbits. Now coming to the next concept, that is valency. So we have learnt how the electrons in an atoms are arranged in different shells or orbits. The electrons present in the outermost shell of an atom are known as valence electrons. From the Bohr-Bury scheme, we also know that the outermost shell of an atom can accommodate a maximum of 8 electrons. It was observed that the atoms of elements having a completely filled outermost shell show little chemical activity. In other words, their combining capacity or valency is zero. Of these inert elements, the elements are helium atom. The helium atom has 2 electrons in its outermost shell, and all other elements have atoms with 8 electrons in the outermost shell. The combining capacity of the atoms of other elements, that is, their tendency to react and form molecules with atoms of the same or the different element, was thus explained as an attempt to attain a fully filled outermost shell. An outermost shell which had 8 electrons was said to possess an octet. Atoms would thus react so as to achieve an octet in the outermost shell. This was done by sharing, gaining, or losing the electrons. The number of electrons gained, lost, or shared so as to make the octet of electrons in the outermost shell gives us directly the combining capacity of the element. That is, the valency discussed in the previous chapter. For example, hydrogen, lithium, sodium atoms contains one each in their outermost shell. Therefore, each one of them can lose one electron. So they are said to be have valency of 1. Can what is the valency of magnesium and aluminium? It is 2 and 3 respectively, because magnesium has 2 electrons in its outermost shell and aluminium has 3 electrons in its outermost shell. But if the number of electrons in the outermost shell of an atom is close to its full capacity, then valency is determined in a different way. For example, the fluorine atom has 7 electrons in the outermost shell, and its valency could be 7. But it is easier for the fluorine to gain 1 electron instead of losing 7 electrons. Hence, its valency is determined by subtracting 7 electrons from the octet, and this gives you valency of 1 for fluorine. Valency can be calculated in similar manner for oxygen. So for oxygen, 8 minus 6, the valency is 2. Oxygen's valency is 2 as per the calculation. Now let us find out what is atomic number and mass number. So atomic number, we know that protons are present in the nucleus of an atom. It is the number of protons of an atom which determines its atomic number. It is denoted by capital Z. All atoms of an element have the same atomic number Z. In fact, elements are defined by the number of protons they possess. For hydrogen, atomic number which is represented by Z is equal to 1 because in hydrogen atom only one proton is present in the nucleus. Similarly, for carbon, Z is equal to 6. Therefore, the atomic number is defined as the total number of protons present in the nucleus of an atom. What is mass number? So, after studying the properties of subatomic particles of an atom, we can conclude that mass of an atom is practically due to protons and neutrons alone. These are present in the nucleus of an atom. Hence, protons and neutrons are also called nucleons. Therefore, the mass of an atom resides in its nucleus. For example, mass of carbon is 12 U because it has 6 protons and 6 neutrons. 6 U plus 6 U is equal to 12 U, unified mass. Similarly, the mass of aluminium is 27 U, that is 13 protons and 14 neutrons. The mass number is thus defined as the sum of the total number of protons and neutrons present in the nucleus of an atom. In the notation for an atom, the atomic number, the mass number, and the symbol of the element are to be written as shown in the image. After understanding what is atomic number and mass number, now let us know about isotopes and isobars. So, in nature, a number of atoms of some elements have been identified which have the same atomic number but different mass numbers. For example, take the case of hydrogen atom. It has three atomic species, namely protium 1H1, deuterium, deuterium 1H2 or D, and tritium 1H3 or T. The atomic number of each one is 1, but the mass number is 1, 2 and 3 respectively. So, other such examples are carbon. Carbon is having two isotopes, that is 6C12 and 6C14. Chlorine. Chlorine is also having two isotopes, that is 17Cl35 and 17Cl37, etc. So on. So, on the basis of these examples, isotopes are defined as the atoms of the same element having the same atomic number but different mass numbers. Therefore, we can say that there are three isotopes of hydrogen atoms, namely protium, deuterium, and tritium. Many elements consist of mixture of isotopes. Each isotope of an element is a pure substance. The chemical properties of isotopes are similar, but their physical properties are different. Now, let us see the applications of isotopes, where we apply these isotopes. So, or where we use these isotopes. Since the chemical properties of all the isotopes of an element are the same, normally we are not concerned about taking a mixture, but some isotopes have special properties which find them useful in various fields. Some of them are: an isotope of uranium is used as a fuel in the nuclear reactor. An isotope of cobalt 60 is used in the treatment of cancer. An isotope of iodine 131 is used in the treatment of goiter. Now, what are isobars? So, let us consider two elements, calcium and argon. Calcium's atomic number is 20 and argon's atomic number is 18. The number of electrons in this atom is different, but the mass number of both these elements is 40. That is, the total number of nucleons is the same in the atoms of this pair of elements. Atoms of different elements with different atomic numbers which have the same mass number are known as isobars. This is all about the structure of atom. Here we come to the end of the chapter.